Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Sports Redefined, Season 2, Episode number 4. And today we got Mr. Faraz Qasim. We got none other better person for the issue we are going to talk about today. So, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Sal Gonzaf. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Well, we all are looking forward to what we are talking we are going to talk about. It's gonna be very hot topic to be discussing here. Well, let's just discuss a little bit of background of yours. Like you have been like with Dawn News, maybe a decade back. So give us an insight to what was your experience working in the media industry of Pakistan, and what bring you to like leave the job and moving abroad.
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it as short as possible for you. But
Yeah.
so I moved to Canada about 10 and a half years ago. I was working in
Hmm.
television for about 5 to 6 years. The reason I joined was for any other, I would say, sports fan. It was just a dream job to work in sports. So it was the only English language news channel in Pakistan at the time, and they were pretty big back in 2000.
Yeah.
I joined when they were launching 2007, 2008. So it was good fun. It was imagine imagine watching cricket and football and being paid for it. So yeah, it was a dream job. I used to write for some British websites as well for Formula One. So there
Okay.
were four sports I covered generally: cricket, soccer, Formula One, and tennis. So I used to write about them as well. But what happened was eventually nobody was watching the English channel in Pakistan. Obviously, there's a very niche market for it, so they
Yeah.
had to cut down, and eventually they had to transfer to Urdu. So I transitioned to Urdu. My Urdu, alhamdulillah, is obviously being a Pakistani very good. So I transitioned to Urdu. But around
Hmm.
2011, what happened was there was a lot of sensationalism. They were no longer working on towards news. There was more to get ratings, and so I just didn't want to be a part of it. I tried going to a different news channel, but they are all going towards the same thing. So I decided maybe I should go out for a while. I came here, I did my broadcast journalism masters, but the journalism
Great.
scene over here was different. So I got into finance, and I've been working in finance ever since. So the thirst for media or cricket, we basically fulfilled that with YouTube and Twitter, and yeah, just so now just a regular guy, no longer in sports journalism directly.
So you told you love to cover four sports. So which one of yours, apart from being a Pakistani, I can know the answer, but rather than cricket, just keep cricket away. Which one of the three sports you like the most?
See, obviously, being Pakistani cricket is by default, but football or what they call soccer over here is something I adopted later on in my life, in my say very early
Uh-huh.
late teens and early 20s. So football was something, because see, cricket we get by birth. Football was something I chose, and then you associate yourself with the team. I associated with myself with Manchester United only because my brother used to watch them a lot, and so
Okay.
it's been a great journey for following the team ups and downs. It's been mostly downs in the last 10 years. I actually, when I moved to Canada, I stopped covering. I'm not covering, obviously, but not even watching two sports. So I stopped following Formula One and tennis. It was if it was just a matter of not having enough
Hmm.
hours in a day. I mean, when you're professional, it's you're getting paid for it. So now I just follow cricket and football.
Okay, well, I don't think so. This will lead to the topic, but just a quick fire question. Messi or Ronaldo?
Oh, Ronaldo. But I'll add a caveat to that though. I'll add a
What
caveat.
the reason is because he was playing with the Man United or something else.
No, the reason is, so obviously the default was because when I started watching football, Ronaldo pretty much started his career. So I followed his career. But being a Man U fan, I hated Messi for a very long time because he beat us in two finals. But sorry, my computer just froze here. All right, but if he beat us in two finals. But over the years, I've started to respect Messi, and if I feel like if somebody who loves Ronaldo and doesn't like Messi is missing out, because these two players will never come again, and we will talk about them for centuries to come. So we should
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt
appreciate
about
both of
it.
them.
Well, there's one rivalry that is between Messi and Ronaldo, and the other one is being between Pakistan and India, and that is we are going to talk about. So first of all, just a random question: rivalry between Pakistan and India. Fans do enjoy it a lot, but there is very heated arguments all around. So I do remember once Shahid Afridi used to tell the media that he spent one of his 1 lakh rupees and that was his best spent money. That was a fine he paid for scolding or maybe saying something to Gautam Gambhir. Well, how do you rate this rivalry at the world stage in sports, actually, in all the sports, maybe not just cricket, but the others as well?
To be honest, in all other sports it doesn't come, because right now there's, I think there's a bridge poker team in Pakistan from India. Our kabaddi teams
Hmm.
keep going there. Hockey, when I was younger, obviously you're from a different generation, when I was younger, Indian Pakistan hockey used to be a great rivalry. Pakistan used to be on the top of
Yeah.
the world in terms of hockey. I remember back in 94, we were world champions of hockey as well. And so when there were India Pakistan matches, even in hockey, we used to watch. Very rarely were they on TV. We used to listen to them on radio. So that's how old I am.
Hmm.
But in terms of cricket,
Great.
obviously, when it comes to cricket, it's entirely different. The rivalry takes a whole different, magnitude. So again, coming from when growing up in the 90s, we used to dominate India. And when we used to play India in Sharjah, it was like pretty much like twice or thrice at least in a year. And we used to
Okay. Yeah.
our whole goal was getting Tendulkar out, and then pretty much we won the game. But obviously it's evolved over the years. In the noughties, in the 2000s, the basically the shift happened, and India has gotten better in the after the 2010s, because of mostly probably because of the IPL or of the money or everything. And it's basically, this is how we were. This is Pakistan, this is India. It started going
Hmm.
like this, and now we're basically pulling back. So we were, I would say right now we're pretty much on even footing. But just in terms of
Hmm.
rivalry, uh, what, like going back to the World Cup game where Kohli beat us in the
It
end,
hurts.
it hurts.
It do
And the thing
hurts.
is, it's just as a sports fan, these are, I take them as scars that you carry for the rest of your life. And as a sportsman, you do need those scars to become a true sports fan. So the ups and downs are there, but the rivalry of India Pakistan, I really hope it gets better in terms of relations, and we can play them more often rather than just the ICC events. But I miss those days where we used to watch India Pakistan test matches. Again, if they were also very few and far between, even when I was younger, but still they used to happen. Like there would be a off time for a few years, then they will get back together and they start playing again. So it was on and off. But I hope for you guys in the younger generation, and you guys get to see the India Pakistan test matches, and that would take it to a whole different level, I guess.
Well, no doubt, Test cricket between India and Pakistan, that is something we all crave for. But as you told, you are from an older generation and I am from a newer generation. So let's just bridge this gap. And I want to ask you about the Sharjah Cup, in which the Javed Miandad famous six was hit. So at that time, at that time there was no social media, and you guys didn't have that liberty to enjoy that much like nowadays we do. So how was the reactions at that time? Definitely from the parents or all around the sports, like the friends and family. How was like that? Because I know that the older times the rivalry was much better than now, because now it's more kind of like enjoyment.
At the time of Javed, I mean, I know I said I'm older, but I'm not as old. So I was not. I was like 3 or 4 years old at the time. So no, I don't remember anything about that six of Javed Mirdad. However, I do remember the repercussions of that six, because at the time,
Hmm.
as you said, there were not a lot of outlets, and there was not a lot of media that, so there was only state media that you could watch. So there was, I
Yeah.
remember, Noor Jahan was. She actually, I believe, had a song for it, and then there was a parody from Bushra Ansari, who made a
Wow.
parody from Noor Jahan's song, and then that became pretty viral at the time, as you can call it. And but even Indians say the same thing, that 1-6, even though it was just one game and 1-6, that left I would say a mental dent on the Indians for a very long time. It took them a
Long
while.
lasting scar for them, that was.
Yeah, it was a big scar. It did take them a long while to get out of it. And as the mindset of, see, when you talk about India Pakistan, the rivalry, and it's skill wise, I would say we're at par, but it's all in the mindset. As I said, in the 90s, when we used to watch Indian Pakistan game, as the only thing we used to worry about was Sachin. So when Sachin would get out, even if the required rate is 5.5, you knew India is not going to get it. They would just play out the overs and end the game. But the mindset has changed in the
Uh-huh.
last, say, 10, 15 years, because now they know.
Yeah, no.
So, but again, going just back in the day, sorry, the World Cup thing, that's thankfully Babar and Rizwan have ended that in 2021. That World Cup thing, we just never understood, because even Okay, after 2010, India is a better team, but back then we were miles ahead of India. But when it came to World Cup, we will always stumble, and that was just a, I would say, an anomaly that could not be explained, an enigma that just didn't have a
Definitely,
an
that
answer.
is unexplainable.
Yeah. So, but
But
but that's
I was
I think
coming to the question actually for
yeah.
you. This one, the question that is about like Pakistan and India World Cups. So I have seen like Pakistan playing India in 2011, and that was the time I was younger at watching cricket. I started watching in 2009, and that match, that one match about the semi-final, was the one. It felt very hard for me because I saw Pakistan winning the 2009 World Cup, and I knew that there was no light, there was load shedding in Pakistan at that time, and we heard the firecrackers being going around. So that was quite an interesting scene. Coming to the World Cups, what's the difference between Pakistan? Actually, when we win big, and when we lose close. So that is something that hurts us. 2017 Champions Trophy, and then coming on to 2022 21 World Cup. So how does that perspective change? And now, what does the India think about playing Pakistan in the World Cups?
Again, as I said, it's a matter of mindset. Skill wise, we were never, I would say, that far behind India, and most of the times we were much ahead of them. But 2003 probably was during that period we were, I think India was making waves in world cricket. But so going back to the 2011 World Cup, if you want to talk about that, so that's again when I said scars, that is one of the biggest scars on my sporting memory, because
Same
I
here.
was yeah I was in television at the time, and I was covering from the studio. So how we cover it from the studio is, so we would go into the live news like short bursts. As a sports presenter, you would go and talk about it, and then we had a whole team of interns who were doing live updates and everything. So one thing I don't never forget is just going before I go to the matches. So I had this little girl. I think she was like barely teenager. She was interning for for our sports team, and she was a big cricket fan. So I remember when Pakistan lost, she just started crying, and I that broke my nose. Like, wow, this is like, and she was really young. I don't know, 18, 19 at the time, and she was so disheartened. I was, yeah, this is how our youth is taking it, which is very heartbreaking. And
Yeah,
just talking about the game, if you want to talk about just the game itself, the 2011 World Cup, I think a lot of my friends who are staunch Mispa fans don't like. The thing is, when you argue about with people, I tend not to argue with people, to be honest, because there's no point in trying to make
exactly.
them believe your or understand your perspective, your point of view. But
Yes.
you cannot argue with facts. See, so if you go back and look at the ball by ball of the 2011 semi-final, when Misbah came to the crease, our required rate was around close to six or just less than six. I would say around about that point. He kept
Hmm.
blocking and blocking and blocking Shahid. So at that time, if you remember, there was a rule where you could take a last power play before the 40th
Yeah.
over, right?
Before the 40th, yeah.
Before
Very
the
power play.
40th over. So Shahid Afridi was at the crease, and Misbah was just not accelerating at all. So Shahid Afridi at the time, and even I think Omar Akmal, so the batsman on the other end kept taking the pressure because Misbah was not rotating the strike. What ended up happening
Hmm.
was the required rate kept climbing and climbing, and people at the if if there were no runs coming from one end, the batsman at the other end had to accelerate no matter what. So
Yes.
what ended up happening was we kept losing wickets on the other end. We had to take a power play, and then we lost the wickets of Shahid Afridi. Before that, Umar Akmal, I don't remember who else it was, and Misbah kept blocking. And when the required rate went to 11 or 12, and basically it was in double figures, that's when Misbah started accelerating. And right at the second
That
last
was
over,
like of no use. That was of no
of no
use, yes,
no
at that
use.
time.
And by the time game had gone, and right at the second last over or last over, I believe, Misbah got to his half century, and he even put up his bat and celebrated for that, which was really distasteful.
Annoying, yeah.
As a cricket fan, I have a lot of respect and love for Misbah as a test captain, as a coach, but as what he did during that game, I really, yeah, it
Well,
baffled
that
me. It
hurts,
still
yeah.
baffles me.
Well, long cut short, let's discuss what's happening in 2023 between Pakistan and India. So, how do you rate like the stance from PCB? Definitely with the ACC and the ICC, first of all, because PCB believes that India should win the World Cup. ICC told us that India should win any tournament of separate like nations. So, first of all, we can start with the PCB. Pakistan image in world cricket.
Zafa, I think I lost you for a minute. Your voice got cut off. I think are you asking about this basically the stance of the
Okay.
PCB right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible
So
now?
you're audible. Yeah, you're fine now. So I
Okay.
really don't have a strong opinion on that, to be honest, because it's all hearsay right now. I mean, it's all point skinning. As Najim said, he even if from his previous tenure, has a strong personality. He likes to make big statements, and being a journalist,
Yep.
he likes to stay in the news. So the other thing
Hmm.
is, our fortunately or unfortunately, we as a nation are driven by emotions rather than logic or facts. So logic states that decisions are made where the money is. So India right now has all the money. Money equates to power. So no matter what you do or say, people with money will always be the ones making the decisions, and that's how it's always been. That's how it will always be. India right now is a might in cricket, and whatever they say goes. Pakistan. So what Najam Sethi is doing is he's appeasing, I would say, people like you and me, that no, we are
Hmm.
not going to bow down to India. We're going to stand our ground. But let's make it as simple as that. If India doesn't want to come for Asia Cup, or they want to have it played on a neutral venue, it will happen. And
Yeah, it will happen definitely.
it will happen. And if Pakistan doesn't want to play in the World Cup, firstly, it will not happen. But even if Pakistan go as far as saying that we are not going to take part in the World Cup and we are boycotting it, so there are two different scenarios, right? Asian Cricket Council is obviously different than ICC. So if India
Hmm.
doesn't take part in the Asia Cup or boycotts it, ACC is India is big part of ICC and ACC, but ACC doesn't have, I would say, from my understanding, as much powers to put sanctions on India or anything. But if
Yeah,
Pakistan
it
doesn't
will
take
not
part,
happen.
yeah, if Pakistan doesn't take part in the ICC World Cup, that will have major ramifications for Pakistan. Not just forget about ICC. Firstly, from there would be a big, division in the fans as well as a nation. Half of them would say we should have gone. Half of them would say we it's good that we didn't. But at the end of the day, if we don't end up playing the World Cup, ICC will put restrictions on Pakistan. The financial funding, which we badly need, will
Hmm.
be curtailed or will completely cut off. So I don't think Pakistan, as a nation, as a cricketing nation, where we stand financially, where we stand on many things, can afford to take ICC on right on face. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we will play it. Asia Cup, then ICC Champions Trophy. I think it's a different story.
Well, cosmetically, it does seem the statements are quite sparkling, and the fans do are liking the situation that is created by PCB, whether it was Ramiz Raja or it is Najam Sethi. But if we go on stats and if we go on the practical basis, it is not possible that Pakistan at any stage would like back out from any of the tournaments that are going to happen. Coming on to the preparations for the World Cup as well, if it's considered, even I didn't hear anything from Babar Azam as the skipper of Pakistan cricket team. He is willing to play the Asia Cup wherever it happens. So, do you really think, and what are the potential venues do you think if the Asia Cup is moved out of Pakistan, if the hybrid model is not accepted? So, do you think the Asia Cup will move to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or maybe UAE again?
I really hope it's not moved to the UAE. Firstly, in the last 10, 12 years, I think even growing up, I watched a lot of Sharjah cricket, but now in the last 10, 12 years, I think I'm full. I'm done with watching cricket in the UAE. So that's why, even though it is considered our second home, so
It becomes quite boring now.
quite
It's
boring.
boring too.
It becomes quite boring. The pitches are not very, I would say, run friendly. They're
Yes.
slow and low pitches. This is where we made our record of, making 160 plus in T20s and then defending them with spinners and our bowling attack. So it's not, it doesn't make for a great viewing, I would say, in terms of T20 cricket or even white ball cricket. So, but if again, it's a big if it doesn't happen in Pakistan, if it's moved out, I would say Bangladesh and Sri Lanka have a decent chance of hosting it, and it will be, I would say, a better spectacle. The optics will be better compared to the UAE. But in terms of Pakistan losing ground on it, I think it'll be a major blow for Pakistan if we do lose it, because as I said, later on we do also have the Champions Trophy to host, supposedly.
Well, inshallah, we do hope that we do host the Champions Trophy in 2025. But coming to us, may sanity prevails. Is that what I hope actually? But coming to the fact is that if Sri Lanka hosts the event there in September, it's most kind of the rainy season will begin there, and Pakistan again. If Pakistan is the host and it is being played in Sri Lanka, it will be a financial blow to PCB as well because they might be paying heavy rents as compared to what they will pay in UAE because UAE is more kind of the Emirates Cricket Board is more closely related to the Pakistan Cricket Board in the past as well. So, how do you think the PCB will look on the options? Leave it the other options, but the PCB, how they will look if they are willing to move the Asia Cup out?
Obviously, you nailed it on the head when you say Pakistan has a great relationship with the UAE Cricket Board, and obviously that's the reason we call it the second home. So financial, I would say financial cuts and financial benefits would definitely be better if we do it in the UAE. But as I said, if the thing is, nobody, no matter how much we say or believe it, Pakistan cricket is always this afterthought. Okay, so be it ACC, be it ICC, we are never the priority in terms of making decisions or what is best for Pakistan cricket. So we are always an afterthought. So that is an unfortunate reality that we have to accept. But yeah, in terms of financial ramifications, yes, if we go to Sri Lanka, or I would say Sri Lanka probably would not be as bad of an option because again, Pakistan enjoys a great relationship with Sri Lanka as well. If there's a Sri Lanka is already going through, obviously, their currency is devalued and Sri Lanka is going through a very
Yeah,
financial meltdown. They're in default. So in terms of financial burdens, I don't think Sri Lanka would be much of a financial burden. And I would actually would think, I mean, if you take out the weather right now, I think Sri Lanka would be a great option in terms of finances.
yeah, no doubt. Because Bangladesh, Sri Lanka is do like Sri Lanka is a better place to be played, and definitely more, as you said, the optics would be better, the graphics and all the stuff, the environment in Sri Lanka will be much better. But if I'm not wrong, I was just looking on to the ESPN Cricket Info, and I got to know that after the big three, Pakistan is the fourth board to be getting much more amount of financial assistance from the ICC in this financial body, like financial cycle they have played. So what do you understand of this trick or maybe the change that ICC has made, giving PCB more of the set of the stack of money as compared to the other nations and leaving out the big three? So coming in at number four, PCB will hope that PCB is getting now the enough amount of respect from the ICC which they deserve.
I don't think that's coming at number four because if you look at the the slice of the pie, how big or small that is. So even though number four, it says number four, but you look at the slice of the pie, it's very thin. So,
Yeah,
and it's not a big deal if Pakistan is at number four because we are. Who else is below? I mean, who else could be above us in that rate in that list? It's a short list. So
yeah,
obviously Australia, England, and India are top, and after that Pakistan is a big player because all these ratings, all these slices of pie are based on the revenue mostly the teams generate. So after the big three, who else would generate? I mean, who other than Pakistanis? Which nation has the passion for cricket? Even English nation as a nation, they don't have as much of a passion. India
yes, they
is
don't.
unbridled. Bangladesh has a passion. They're if you go and look at their fans, if you talk to their fans, they have a great passion. But they like I mean, passion doesn't match up with the product that they have as a cricket team. So Pakistan as
Yeah,
a cricket team is it's an excellent, it's a sellable product. If you're hosting a series, if you're not able to get the big three, which is the biggest ticket, if you're not able to host the big
yeah,
three, what's the next best thing you would need? You would need Pakistan. Pakistan is the most entertaining team
yeah,
as a nation. And again, when it comes to revenue generation, as in terms of population, India obviously the reason they generate one of the reasons I would say they generate such revenue is because the population. If you're selling a
it's
bar of
greater. Yeah,
soap, right? If you are I would say you're a CEO of a company, Zephyr, right? You're selling a bar
mm,
of soap, and you have a budget of say $1 million to advertise that, right? So
hmm,
if you advertise
yeah,
that on an Indian game, you're advertising it to a billion people. If you advertise it to a Pakistan in a Pakistani game, it's what a fraction of that, one fourth of that population. barely.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
obviously the numbers that so and then we go to from Pakistan. If you go to New Zealand or other, so again the revenue generation Pakistan brings, I'm not surprised we're at four, and it's not something we should really be grateful for because it's number four, but the slice of the pie is very thin. So yeah, not something to
Well,
brag about, I would say.
The excitement that Pakistan cricket do brings to the world cricket as well as to the Asian nations, and comparatively, if we compare, it's currently the second best team in Asia after India, obviously. So, coming to that point of the talk, do you really think, and that is what BCB is being bragging about, that we are the exciting team and we are this, and that is what Najam Sethi was like talking to Vikrant Gupta recently. I was hearing to his interview that he gave it Indian channel. So that is the thing. Maybe that is the reason PCB is so much optimistic, or maybe more confident, or maybe overconfident in approach to deal with India at world stages as well as at the ACC forum. Or maybe is there something else that is being cooked around?
See, the thing is mentioned earlier, Zafa, is that if you are Najam Sethi, excuse me, and if you are the head of an organization that leagues cricket of a nation that is Pakistan, that is so heavily invested in cricket, you are supposed to make statements which reflect strength, which is
Yeah,
reflect that you are projecting your values, you're projecting your strength, you're not bowing down to anybody. So what it is at the moment is words and statements. As if
mm,
you're talking about purely cricket statics, purely cricket abilities, yes, we are a strong nation, and we definitely, I mean, right now, I'm sure, Zephyr, you've been through social media, and I don't agree with it,
yeah,
but there's been this trend on social media of people just saying that we are one of the favorites for the World Cup, which I personally don't believe we are. We are a good team, but I think we're hyping
me
our team up.
neither.
Yeah, I think we're hyping our team up a little too much. But the point remains that we are strong players, be it in an ACC, be it an Asian Cricket Council, be it in an ICC, purely based on the talent we possess. Especially the new generation, Muzafa. I again because I've seen much more, much more cricket teams and eras in cricket. So I,
Yeah, than us.
90s and 2000. So this cricket team that we have, Josefa, I believe is I call them a golden generation. I think the generation we
Mm,
have right now. Look at that. I mean, for leg spinner, we have Shadab, then we have Osama
yeah,
Mir, then we have
Osama Mir.
Abrar, then we have, and fourth we have Usman Qadir. Okay, fine, he's not a brilliant, but that's our fourth choice as a
Mm,
seam attack. I don't even need to name this seam attack. We have like
yeah,
seven
yeah, seam
bowlers.
attack is something
Like
very fiery.
if you go into openings, we have so many options. Like for every position,
Yeah,
we have at least two to three options. We didn't have this. We didn't have this 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. We used to have one or two options, and we played the best option. The second choice was so, like, there's such a drop in quality in the second choice that we never wanted anybody to get injured. But now we
yeah.
definitely have a big, I would say, stock of great players
Pool
which
of
can,
players. Yeah, we have
yeah,
a lot of
the
players.
pool of players is brilliant, and I think it's a golden generation. So when you say, are we big players in terms of cricket on the field, we are, but in terms of financial muscle and might, we are not.
And that's what you said is gonna work. The financial muscle is gonna work everywhere wherever we go. Well, who are the favorites for you in the Asian cricket, like in this Asia Cup? Who are your favorites?
I mean, in terms of Asia Cup, again, it's such a big if and when, right? So, but Pakistan have to be. I mean, we did make it to the final in the T20 version last year, and we lost somehow. I don't know how we did, but you should have won it. So Pakistan obviously are the favorites, I would say, because India, if Asia Cup happens, India would be coming from, I would say, the IPL and the Test Championship and everything. So India would be really worn out. So again, if it happens, Pakistan will have the edge over India because no matter what you say, if a human being's body is only able to put in so many hours of cricket or any physical ability
Yeah,
after the IPL. What happened last year, I think they went into the World Cup after the IPL, and they just was
they
were
were
not, yeah, they were not
they
able
were
to perform.
disposed of.
Yeah, so it's a 2.5 month long competition. I have the TV right in front of me. I watch it every day when I'm working here, right here, but I tend not to remember who is playing who anymore because there's so many games, and watching it is so exhausting. I don't know how long I mean, how much? Yeah, there's a lot of money involved, but I would say Indian team. Anyways, coming back to the point, I would say Indian team would be second favorites. But I'm sure you're going to ask about the World Cup, so let's just move to the favorites of the World Cup. I'll just tell you though. So
Okay.
Australia, when it comes to World Cup, they obviously are our World Cup team, so they you can never count out. Obviously, Australia will be their favorites. England, with the pool of talent they have, is again it's
The
scary.
baseball.
It's
The
scary.
baseball.
Yeah, they have the talent and the coaching and the infrastructure, so they have everything going for them. So yeah, they are scary talent. But the thing is, baseball and this approach can always go both ways. So that's one thing that can go for them or against them. And then comes India, obviously home ground, and the whole
The
everything
big
that
three
comes.
are there to win the World Cup.
Yeah, big three. And as you said, in the ratings, we come in the fourth. We take the fourth slice. I would say we're the fourth favorites, if anything. So, but yeah, that's a very
Well, we
realistic.
are unpredictable ones. We can win it or we can lose it badly.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
that kind of a story for Pakistan.
I don't. I really hope we come out of this unpredictable tag. I've never, as a sports fan, I've never liked this unpredictable tag because as sports fan, we just suffer so much because it's true we don't know which team, which Pakistan team is stepping into the ground. So I really hope and wish that this new generation takes that tag away, and we are more consistent at least in the last next like 5-10 years coming.
Well, as a fan of Pakistan cricket, as a fan of Babar Azam, what is your message to him? Because the tale of him playing finals and then bottling them, so like it's quite hurtful as a captain for him as well and for fans as well. Playing World Cup semi-final and then winning the final in Australia. That's something really big for Pakistan to play a final in Australia. That was a big like Pakistan never won a T20 there before the World Cup. So, what is your message to him as a fan? And definitely, what would you like to say to him for that?
See, Zephyr, when it comes to Babar Azam, all of our, Pakistan, we have opinions and we are very possessive or very aggressive, whatever side you're on. My opinion on Babar is again very polarized because the thing we need to do is we need to make the distinction between Babar the batsman, Babar and Babar the captain. Babar the batsman needs no advice. Babar the batsman needs to keep doing what he's doing and he will conquer the world. Babar the captain, however, is a
Yeah,
different story. Babar the captain, I have my reservations with. Babar the captain is not the best captain I've seen for Pakistan or anywhere else. He lacks killer instinct. He lacks quick decisions. He lacks strategy, and he lacks the ability to impose himself over the opposition. So I think Babar, the captain, has a long way to go. Where Babar, the batsman, I would say shut out the noise around him and just keep on doing what he's doing, especially in ODI cricket. T20 cricket, yes, he has an issue with the strike rate, which he's improving. If you've seen him in the recent
yeah.
PSL, he has come up with new shots.
2023 was a good year for him in
Yeah,
T20
he's
cricket.
come up with new shots. He's trying, and he's going to the apex of his career, which is what 28, 29, 30 is basically when cricketers or batsmen basically reach the peak or apex of their career. So he's getting there, and but again, as a captain, I don't know. I really am not sure.
Well, let's hope for the best. Well, now it's time for you to be a captain, and we do have some interesting segments lined up for you. So
Hmm.
I'll ask my director to bring up the first segment. Well, we are here with the fans corner, and here are a few questions for you to lined up. So what we have is, do you think there will be hybrid model in World Cup? So yeah, Pakistan is demanding that as well. So do you really think that would happen?
So if we talk about it, no, no way, not in India, because India. This is the first time India is hosting a World Cup completely, so they will never want to change it for anybody or any reason, not at all.
So that's not happening. If we have another question, yes, we do have. Will India visit Pakistan in Champions Trophy? It's an ICC event. So Faizan is asking me this question.
Fazan bhai, I don't think it's going to happen no matter how much we want it because we discussed, so Zeph and I were discussing money is might. So they have the power, they have the money, they make the decisions. We just bow down and say when and where we need to be. So that's how it is. And unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. They're not coming to Pakistan.
Well, that's it from our fans corner. We are up for our next challenge. So it's gonna take some testing for you. So it might be a Yorker or it might be a cover drive from your side. So guess the star, please.
Yeah, this looks like Imran Khan, right?
Okay, think again. Okay, let me give you a
Hold on.
hint. He is an all-rounder.
Hazelnut it has to be. That was a couple days then.
Uh-huh. Can we get the answers, please? Oh yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because the
You
thing
got
is
it
that
right.
yeah, I looked at the bat sponsor. I didn't look at it before, but yeah, that's
Okay, next time we would ask our director to hide all the pictures so that there will be no guesses around. Okay, thank you. Next up, please. So this round is quite interesting. Last time I asked the questions was like it acted like a Yorker for the guest. Now it's time for you. Let's hope that you do answer them right. So, which test venue was Pakistan's home but was regarded as away for Pakistan cricket?
which Test venue used to be a home game for Pakistan, but has since
Yeah.
been regarded as an away game. I would say that only can be any ground in Bangladesh. I would say that probably is the answer because
Yes, you are 99% right. Well, it's Dhaka,
uh,
so
yeah, I
you
didn't
are right.
which venue, but yeah, it has to be Bangladesh. Okay, 50% right.
Yeah, that was right. So, moving on to our next question. So, who was the first Pakistani player who opened the batting and bowling for Pakistan in 80s and 90s?
80s and 90s. Oh, hold on. Okay, let me think about it. My first thought was probably Mudassir Nazar because we don't have a lot of all rounders at that level.
Well, you are right with your first thought. You are right. So it's Mudassir Nazar actually. He did it 9 times for Pakistan in his career. He opened the batting
But
and
did he
bowling
play
for
in the
them.
90s?
80s only. Yes.
Yeah, 80s. You said 80s and 90s. I was
Yeah.
wondering who played in the
So
90s.
I was just manipulating the question so that
Okay.
it made it quite interesting. Okay, thank you. Moving on to our prediction hat. Well, the prediction hat includes. I will not ask you about the Asia Cup or World Cup because we are uncertain about that. Well, we do are certain about the World Test Championship final, and it's between India and Australia, two of the heavyweights when it comes to them. Well, who is winning the final? Last time, India bottled it, and are they coming on strong this time around?
I would feel I would feel Australia would be favorites because that's being played in England and just purely
Yeah,
based on the bowling attack. India have a decent bowling attack, but I would say Australia should be favorites.
and definitely Australia is the team of trophies. So when they are in the final, just leave it to them.
And this is one trophy they've not won yet, so they will be hungry.
Yeah, they will be coming very hard on it. Well, thank you so much, Faraz. It was really an interesting show to talk to you, and you have been an inspiration for me as well, for all backdoor as well for us. So thank you so much for giving your time to Sportanics. On the behalf of my team, I am very thankful, and I'll wait to see you next time as well at this very show, and maybe in this season or maybe in the next season. Thank you so much. And for the fans, yes, I hope they enjoyed your brief answers. So looking forward to what you want to say about us.
Firstly, enjoyed the experience thoroughly, Zafa. You guys are doing a great job. I really enjoyed the format of the show, and because we do a YouTube show, but you guys are much more organized than us, and you have like a whole
Hmm.
director in the background. So no,
We
it
are
really,
learners. We are learners. So
yeah, no, we
so
really,
that
really
is
enjoyed
something.
it, and really would love to be back and keep doing what you're doing, guys. Love it. Good luck.
Thank you so much. And for the fans, see you next time. Till then, take care. Goodbye, and have a nice sleep. Thank you so much.